right, today we're going to take our self-portraits to the next level. So using the proportions and the face map that we created before our holiday, I have created a new face map, and in just a few minutes we'll talk about where we go from the face map. First though, we need to talk about mirrors. To draw a self-portrait, it's really important that you have a mirror. You might find a mirror and a hand mirror like this that you would find in the bathroom. One side magnifies and one side does not. If you have a mirror that has two sides, you need to use the side that does not magnify, and you will need to prop it up against something because it's hard to hold the mirror and draw at the same time. You might find that you have a compact, especially you ladies. This mirror is really too small. You hold it close, you can't draw, and it is really too small to be useful. Where else could we find mirrors? We might find them in a bedroom on a dresser top. We might find them, and we have an example over here. We might find one in a dining room where we have other objects that we might need to move out of the way. And of course, most of us have a mirror in our bathroom. Remember, if you're using a mirror in a bathroom, you might be interrupted. You will need to sit down, so arrange your chair so that you can see in the mirror. And I want you to draw a new face map on your large paper. Please don't use the face map we've already drawn. So as I said, I have created my face map using our proportions that we talked about before the holiday. One of the most important things when drawing the portrait are the eyes. In terms of everything on the whole face is drawn in proportion or in relationship to the eyes. So we talked about the fact that the face is 5 eyes across. So let's look at that again. To measure my face, my 5 eyes across, I want you to put your hands on your head, on your face, on the side of your head or over your ears, and then come straight forward like blinders on a horse. Not out, but straight forward. This is the amount of space that should be 5 eyes wide. Okay? So, how can I measure that? I can use my pencil, and I can start here with my arm in the same position out from my face and lining up the pencil tip with the end of my eye and putting my fingers at the other end of my eye. That's my measuring, like using the inch mark on a ruler. So that's 1 eye, 2 eyes, 3 eyes, and that should be the same or uniform for everybody. But what might change is how much space is from here to the outside of your face. Okay? Remember our straight out. Okay? So when I'm measuring 1, 2, when I get over here, I might not have a whole eye space, so that might only be 3/4 of an eye space. And this over here, from the eye to over here, might be 3/4. Okay? If you are a larger person, if you have a more full face, you might be a little wider than 5 eyes. So that's why you need to measure that so carefully, because if that is wrong, the rest of the face is wrong. For those of you that wear glasses, if you can see without your glasses, measure that way. If you can't see without your glasses, we'll measure the same way. But using, don't turn your pencil. Okay, so here from the eye to here, it's not quite 5 eyes. It's about 3/4 of that. So then I'm going to check my drawing. Keeping my fingers in the same place. Between the eyes is 1. That's a little bit too big there. And I have to, my face is not out here. That's the 5 eyes. It was a little in, so I'm going to bring that in. There's my 5 eyes. That one is okay, and this one is in a little also. So because everything is according to those eyes, before I can put the ears on, or before I put in detail, certainly, I have to adjust my oval, and that necessitates me moving in the ears. Okay, so remember that our ears are kind of like the capital C, but they come in very close to our head. And that measurement is so important. This one was a little bit big because everything else on our portrait relates to that proportion or that measurement. It has to be right, or it's not going to look like me, and your portrait won't look like you. From that, I'm going to come down and check my measurements, make sure the nose, remember the nose lines up with the inside of the eye. And when we did our pupils, we're just going to start with the C, and remember that our mouth lines up with the center of our eyes, of each eye, and our neck lines up with the outside of each eye. Okay, now I can go back and look at my face and adjust according to me. You are going to adjust according to you. The eyes, the nose, the lips are so very important because everybody's face shape varies a little bit. So I'm going to be leaving my glasses on because I don't see very well anymore without them. And so even if you're wearing glasses, we'll talk about how to add glasses later. For right now, do your portrait, self-portrait without glasses. So our eyelid comes here, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm checking the shape. What is the shape of that arc of the eyelid? What is the shape of the bottom of the eyelid? If the eyelids are too open, it's going to look unnatural. And if the shape is wrong, it looks unnatural. Then before I go on, if you put in that horizontal eye line, let's take that out. And we talked about before our holiday with our iris, we want to see what happens with our eye when we're looking straight in the mirror. The iris, the colored part of our eye, might have a little gap or might be touching the bottom. Okay, next, if you're looking straight in the mirror, we're going to tip our nose down a little bit. So we're thinking about this line right here. That becomes the nostrils. And you can make that a little bit of a loop if you want. And generally this circular shape is larger than most of us draw in the first place. And then our nose is broad. It is not just here up like a triangle. This is called the bridge, and it goes straight up, straight up here, and then comes into our eyebrows. And we actually have quite a lot of space between our eye and our eyebrows. So don't have those eyebrows be too close. You might have eyebrows, bones that are straight across. We'll come back and add those details later. Okay, so let's take a look at the mouth next. Generally, our lips line up with the center of the eye. But this shape right here, remember our mouth is 3 parts, is very important. Is it rounded or is it sharp? Mine is more sharp. And what is the angle of this lip line? comes down. Remember, the bottom of the upper lip is not flat. And some of you might notice that your upper lip seems to be longer and narrower. If it's a little shorter, that's okay. Remember, our bottom lip is a different shape also. If it is not that full, then you can make it more narrow. Remember, we started with our oval. Generally speaking, the fullest part of the lower lip lines up with the width of the nose. So those two should be in proportion to each other. Then we have 1 finger space here for the chin. Decide if your chin is more oval or circular. And then we have to do the jawline next. So the jawline includes what we were looking at for the eye measurement. And most of us do not have a face that shape that is oval. So it changes. So we have to look in the mirror. The only way I'm going to know is if I'm looking and see that. Okay. Now, some of us might have hair that partially covers our ear or totally covers our ear, but we're still going to go ahead and draw the ear shape and the parts of the ear that we see. And we're going to draw the whole ear. We're not going to shade it yet, but we're going to put all those parts in, and then we'll put in our hair later and shade the very last thing. Okay? All right, so next, let's go ahead and do the hair. Okay?